A strong burst of wind hit my face and gusted into the bag. When it waned, another wind whipped around my body from behind and began filling the bag as well. Soon, winds from every direction were pummeling me. I felt buffeted from every direction and could barely contain the bag full of powerful winds. Finally, the gusts died so that I could feel not even a wisp of a breeze. But the bag bucked violently. Kishan was surrounded by 10 birds, barely holding them at bay with the chakram. "Kishan, get behind me!" He drew back his arm and with a powerful thrust let loose the chakram. As it spun through the air, he ran to me, grabbed the bag on the other side, and caught the hurtling chakram just before it took off my head. I raised an eyebrow while he grinned. I yelled, "Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. We opened the bag and let loose all the winds of Shangri-La in the birds' direction. 3 of the birds were slammed against the mountain while the others spun off toward the world tree, trying desperately to escape the tumult. When the winds died down, the empty bag hung limp between us. Kishan stared at me incredulously.
"Kelsey, how did you—"
He trailed off. "Scarf, please." The bag shifted and twisted, turned a soft blue and gold color, and then shrunk into a scarf again. I wrapped it around my neck and tossed the end over my shoulder. The answer is I don't know. When Hugin and Moonin cleared our minds, I remembered stories and myths I had learned before. I recalled things the Divine Weaver told us and also things that Mr. Kadam had speculated about. He told me a story of a Japanese god called Fujin who controlled the winds and had a bag to carry them in. I also knew that this material was special, like the golden fruit. Maybe everything was in my mind all along, or maybe Hugin whispered it in my thoughts. I'm not sure. I do know that the scarf can do something else, something that will help us save Ren. But we should get out of here before the birds come back. I'll show you then.
"All right. But first, there's something I need to do."
"What's that?"
"This."
He yanked me up against his body and kissed me. Thoroughly. His mouth moved against mine passionately. The kiss was fast, turbulent, and wild. He held me tightly, one hand cradling my head while the other held me firmly at my waist. He kissed me fiercely with an utter abandon that I could no more put a halt to than I could stop an avalanche. When you're caught in an avalanche, you have 2 choices: stand there and try to block it, or you can give in, roll with it, and hope you come out alive at the base. So, I rolled with Kishan's kiss. Finally, he lifted his head, spun me around, and let out a jubilant whoop of victory that echoed in the surrounding hills. When he finally set me down, I had to catch my breath. I panted and said, "What was that for?"
"I'm just happy to be alive."
"Okay, fine. But keep your lips to yourself next time." He sighed.
"Don't be upset, Kels."
"I'm not upset. I'm not sure what I think about it. It all happened too fast for me to even react." A scoundrel smile lit his face.
"I promise to slow it down next time."
"What next time?" He frowned slightly.
"You don't need to make a big deal out of it. It's just a natural reaction to narrowly escaping death. It's like when soldiers come back from war and grab a girl to kiss right after they get off the boat."
I retorted wryly, "Yeah, maybe so, but the difference is this girl was on the boat with you. Feel free to grab any girl you like when we get back to the mainland, sailor, but this girl is hands off." He folded his arms across his chest.
"Really? It felt more like your hands were on, if you ask me."
I sputtered in outrage. "If my hands were on you at all, they were there to push you away."
Whatever you have to tell yourself to have a clear conscience at the end of the day. You just won't admit that you liked it.
Let me see. You're right, Casanova. I did like it. After it was over. He shook his head.
You are stubborn. No wonder Ren had so many problems.
How dare you even mention your brother?
When are you going to face facts, Kels? You like me.
Well, I'm not liking you so much right now. Can we just head back to the Spirit Gate and drop this conversation?
Yes. But we will continue this discussion later.
Maybe. When Shangri-La freezes over. He took the backpack and grinned.
I can't wait for that. After you be louder.
Kissing bandit, I muttered. He smirked wickedly and lifted an eyebrow. We hiked for several hours. Kishan kept trying to talk to me, but I stubbornly refused to acknowledge his existence. The problem with what happened between us was he wasn't wrong. I had spent more time with him now than I had with Ren, and we'd been living under the same roof for months. We'd been hiking through Shangri-La and spent day and night together for weeks. Day-to-day contact like that creates a level of closeness and intimacy between two people. Kishan was just more willing to recognize it than I was. It was not surprising that Kishan, who already admittedly had feelings for me, was beginning to feel comfortable expressing them. The thing was, it didn't bother me as much as it should have. Kishan kissing me was not like Artie or Jason or even Lee. When I kissed Lee, I felt in control. It wasn't like kissing Ren either. Ren was like a fantastic jungle waterfall, sparkling and shimmering in the sunlight. He was an exotic paradise waiting to be discovered. Kishan was different. Kishan was a raging, grade 6 whitewater river, fast, unpredictable, and unnavigable to even the most skilled thrill seekers. The brothers were both magnificent and fascinating and powerful. But kissing Kishan was dangerous. Not dangerous like the man sirens. They just felt wrong. If I was being honest with myself, kissing Kishan didn't feel wrong. It actually felt good. Like a wilder, fiercer version of Ren. With Kishan, it was like I'd literally caught a tiger by the tail and he was ready to turn on me and drag me off. It wasn't an altogether unpleasant notion. And that was the part that disturbed me. Clearly, I've been separated from my boyfriend for too long. I tried to rationalize my feelings. Kishan's the next best thing, and I'm just missing my tiger. I'm sure that's all it is. I let those thoughts comfort me as we walked. Like Ren, Kishan had a knack for charming his way out of difficult problems. Before long, he made me completely forget that I had been upset with him. As dusk turned into twilight, we decided to set up camp for the night. I was exhausted.
You take the sleeping bag, Kels.
Don't need it. Watch this. I took the scarf from around my neck and said, "A large tent, a sleeping bag, 2 soft pillows, and a change of clothes for each of us, please." The scarf shifted and moved. Threads began weaving in and out. They twisted together to create thick cords, which shot out in several directions and wrapped around the long branches of nearby trees. Once the cords were tied and secure, the scarf created a roof, walls, and a tent floor. The tent was suspended from 2 lines twined about the tree overhead. Instead of a zipper, the opening flaps tied together. I ducked my head inside. "Come on, Kishan." He followed me into the spacious tent, and we watched as the colorful threads continued to weave a thick sleeping bag and 2 soft pillows. When it was finished, I had a green sleeping bag and 2 white, king-sized pillows. A change of clothes for each of us rested on top of them. Kishan spread the old sleeping bag out next to me while I fluffed a pillow. He asked,
"How does it choose the color?"
"I think it depends on its mood, or perhaps on what you ask for. The tent, sleeping bag, and pillows all look like they're supposed to. Otherwise, the scarf shifts colors on its own. I noticed it as I walked all day." Kishan left to change in the jungle while I put on fresh clothes and hung my fairy clothes on a branch outside. By the time he came back, I was snuggled deep into my sleeping bag and had turned on my side to avoid conversation. He climbed into his sleeping bag, and I could feel his golden eyes staring at my back for several tense moments. Finally, he grunted and said,
"Well, good night, Cass."
"Good night, Kishan." I was exhausted and fell asleep quickly, drifting right into a new dream. I dreamed of Ren and Lokesh, the very same scene as in my last vision. Ren was sitting in the back corner of a cage in a dark room. His hair was filthy and matted, and I almost didn't realize it was him until he opened his eyes and looked at me. I'd recognize those blue eyes anywhere. His eyes gleamed steadily in the dark like bright sapphires. I crept closer, letting them guide me, staring at them like a desperate sailor watches a lighthouse on a stormy black night. When I got to the cage, Ren blinked, as if seeing me for the first time. His voice cracked like a man thirsty for water.
"Kels,